And my name is Otieno Paul Peter for people seeing me or hearing about me for the first time. So utasikia OPP. That's what it means. Okay, Dr. Lucita.
We call him the deep state Dr. OPP. Thank you so much. I thank the Lord. It's a beautiful Monday morning as it is. We always demystify the fact that Monday mornings are boring days. I tend to say that Monday mornings are the most beautiful days that you couldn't miss to behold and celebrate in them. Today, I want to celebrate each one of us. And one thing that I have learned and I took from the dinner is as long as you can talk, you can sing. It's only that you've not decided to bring out the talent in you. Today, I want to celebrate each one of us. I celebrate you, and that is my title of the poem. I celebrate. I celebrate the morning glow, where gentle winds of promise blow. A brand new chance to rise and grow and walk in the path that you need to know. I celebrate the strength that you gain through the silent storms and the whispered pain, a steady flame that will remain to guide you through the terrain. I celebrate you. I celebrate each lesson that you've learned, each page that you've turned, every setback that you've burned, the shape that the wisdom that you've earned. I celebrate you. I celebrate the small wins that you've had each day, the simple joys along the way, the little sparks that have lit in your way and that have brightened your skies that were gray. I celebrate you. I celebrate the dreams that you've seen that have unfolded each moment. I celebrate the future that you behold. I celebrate you. I celebrate the will you have to try. I celebrate the wings that you've had to grow to fly. I celebrate the gaze that you've lit up to the sky. I celebrate you. I celebrate the love that you share. I celebrate the kindness that you've shown. I celebrate the friendships that we have. A gift that has grown beyond comparison. I celebrate the inner flame that you've had. I celebrate each story that you've told. I celebrate that you are here and you are alive. I celebrate live your dream. I celebrate each moment. I celebrate Power Monday because I celebrate you. And today I celebrate each one of you because I am so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Congratulations. That's beautiful, beautiful way to start. Yeah. So let's celebrate each other. If you can't, I was telling some people, I think yesterday, but one, that we must learn to celebrate even the success of each other. If you don't, if you find it hard celebrating people's success, you are not likely to succeed because your mind needs to be in that reference frame, in that frequency of success. And that means you must celebrate success wherever you see it. Yes. And I think celebrating people, celebrating each other is a very noble thing. So thank you very much for bringing that up. Today, we have Gashoka to introduce for us the guest speaker, who happens to be my classmate. I'm my friend. We did lab together in the physics department, the University of Nairobi. So it's good to see your face. Let me hear Gashoka. This is the moment.
Thank you very much, OPP. Thank you very much, Power Madi family. It is such a great honor to be the one introducing the speaker for today. And I'm also celebrating the success for even Power Monday, still at 5. It is still the newborn. So very proud And I'm one of those people who have also enjoyed a lot and seen a lot from Power Monday, made very good networks, and looking into 2026 with much more hope. My name is Gashoka Kangata, and this is the bio for our speaker for today. Our speaker for today is Dr. Emmanuel Mango, and I still want to follow the other accreditation after his name: DBA, MSc, PG, Diploma, and BSc. My night job is researching what makes humans truly fulfilled and impactful, while my day is strategy facilitation, leadership training, and human resource consultancy. I am an author of The Good Success: How to Cultivate a Fulfilling, Impactful, and Value-Driven Life, available on Amazon and Nuria Bookshop, founder of TGS Community, launching in January 2026. I hold a doctorate in leadership and organizational change from the United States International University, and MSc in human resource management from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, a BSc in physics from the University of Nairobi, and postgraduate diploma in human resource management from the Kenya Institute of Management. Some of my clients include Muthaiga Golf Club, Jefflex Consultants Limited, Council of Governors, Plaza Specialist Hospital, Pastoral Women Council, Ufugamano Christian Student Leadership Center, and Nyota Jema Real Estate. My purpose is to inspire and equip individuals and organizations to live meaningful lives. Let us all welcome our speaker, and thank you very much.
Yes, our speaker can take the floor. We can now hear your voice.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me put up the presentation, then I pick it up from there. I just want to confirm that the presentation is view.
Yes, it's okay. We can see it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so very much. The Power Monday team, starting with PP, was not only my classmate. We did physics experiment together at Chiromo. It's been a pleasure to see his growth. We all moved into different directions. We started from physics, and I think him is stayed with a bit of science in the computer world, but myself, I moved into business administration. And it's a pleasure, but I'm also happy to see Dr. Dirima here. We have cooperated in different circles. And Obwaka is also well known to me. And I think I know some faces here. Thank you for the Gashoka who has introduced me. And I want us to move straight because I know Monday is quite a busy day and you want to get into activities very fast. If time allows, we can talk later. So one of the things that I want to say from the onset is that what I want to give is the software of strategy, personal strategy. I know that the hardware bit of it, you can Google it and find it on the internet. How does a strategy look like? What are the elements of strategy? Those are things you can find out from here and there. So I want to speak to the software, and you'll see why I'm calling it the software, because it's the heart of strategy and personal strategy in that matter. I've been doing strategy for about 11 years now, and I've learned a few things, and I want to share these things to see whether they can inspire you how corporate strategy relates to individual strategy. So on your screen here, we can see an image of individuals well known to some of us here. and not to all of us here, but I guess. So there is a question here. How am I going to be different versus what am I going to do in 2026? Which question are you asking? I bet most of us asking the question is, what am I going to do in 2026? And that is the problem. That's a problem. That's not where we start with strategic planning. With strategic planning, whether it's personal or a group strategy or an organization strategy, the question is, how am I going to be different? So through our conversations this morning, I want us to leave this place asking yourself, how am I going to be different in 2026 rather than what am I going to do in 2026? What you're going to do in 2026, that's a simple matter. But how are you going to be different in 2026? That is a complex, worthwhile exercise to think about in the remaining 1 month before you get to that 2026. So again, and I think it's also very important to try and differentiate two things, because I guess, again, whether it's personal strategy or corporate strategy, people confuse the difference between goals and targets versus a strategic plan. And I wanted to start from there to set the scenario where, so what's the difference between these two items? When it comes to goals and targets, here you're just running the same in the same direction. The only difference is that maybe you're going a bit faster. So most of us want to increase our sales by 10%. You want to increase your clients by 5%. You know, you're running in the same direction, but maybe in 2026, the only thing you want to do different is to run faster. But that's not what strategy is about. Strategy is not about running in the same direction. Strategy is about um, switching completely to a different sport. You know, you have been playing football, but now you want to play baseball because of some good reasons that you have. That's what strategy is about. Strategy is not about what are you going to do, but it is also much about what are you not going to do because of some strategic reasons, some strategic analysis. So it is not that when we go for strategic planning that we are always thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to achieve? How many clients am I going to win? You also decide, I'm not going to serve this clientele. This category of clientele, I'm not going to serve them in 2026. That is still a personal strategy. I'm not going to take that diploma in marketing. Not that there is something bad about that diploma in marketing, but it's not serving your bigger goals. So that's what the difference between strategy and goals. So you'll find most people think about goals when they meet, like now you're almost reflecting, what am I going to do in 2026? Those are goals, those are targets. When it is strategy, we think, how am I going to be different in 26 and going beyond that? But the primary question for those of us who are reflecting on goals and targets is, what am I going to achieve this year? Whereas those who are thinking about strategic plan, which we are talking about this morning, their primary question is, how do we become different organization in the next 3 to 5 years? So that's the primary question. When it comes to how do people feel, that's the team, how does it feel? Those who are thinking goals as stroke targets, their feeling is stretch goals, pressure. How am I going to increase? If I've been growing by 20%, how do I grow by 30%? So it is pressure, it's hustle, it's long hours. Whereas those who are thinking about strategy, which I want to convince each one of us this morning, that should be what you're thinking about. This is the new game we are playing. So they feel about, how do they feel the content that come out of the planning is that they see this is a new game that we are playing. They receive clarity, focus, excitement. So that's about strategy. And finally, when you look at the profile of risk those who are thinking about goals and targets, in terms of risk in goals is quite low. But the risk for strategy is high, and we can also differentiate between strategy and goals versus target by the risk levels. You'll find that the risk level in strategy is quite low. In goals is quite low as vis-a-vis strategy, because strategy, when you're playing a different game or moving in a very different direction, the risk is high, but the benefits also are high. So that's the foundation of what is strategy versus what is goals versus target. So I think one of the things that you can pause there and reflect when you have been planning, have you been developing strategic plans, or have you been developing goals? So that's a good question to think about as we go over this conversation and as a takeaway. The way you have been carrying out your life, have you been writing strategic plans for your life, or have you been developing goals versus targets? So the second thing that I've learned over the years when it comes to strategy, apart from differentiating between strategy and other plans, is that when it comes to strategy, most people, what they think about is a good value at the cheapest price versus the best value at the premium price. So what is your approach to strategy? And as I said, that this conversation is about the software of strategy, not the mechanics of strategy, where you're talking about vision, mission, core values. There is space for that, and that you can Google. But there is the software that holds these things together, that when it lacks those vision, mission, core values, objectives, strategies, and activities don't hold, because there is nothing bringing them together, joining them together. So strategy mostly follows this perspective. Am I going to offer a good value at the cheapest price, or am I going to offer a premium value at a premium price? So where do you see your organization, your life as an individual, because we are talking about personal prices? Where are you going to position yourself? If you're employed, this is so to say, are you going to be looking at a premium employment, or are you going to do any job that comes around as fast as possible? For those who are in business, you can choose the kind of gigs that you want to be involved in. Are you going to take any clients paying you an amount of money, or you're looking for a specific? When you're developing a strategic plan, you have to decide: are you aiming for premium offer, or you're aiming for masses? So if you're aiming for masses, then you need to know that you have to produce fast, you have to make a lot of sales for you to be profitable. But if you are aiming for premium, it means that you look for few clients. They may take time for you to find them, but when you find them, then you can get very good pay. So that's the strategy oscillates between those two poles. Are you going for masses, or are you going for a premium? So you have to make a decision when you are positioning your strategy that way. The third thing that I would, as one of the lessons that I've learned through planning over the years, is that people plan for different reasons. Some people plan because they want a mission. They want to be different. Others plan because it is a new year. It is their tradition to do so. So why do you plan? And that's bring me to one of the elements that I really treasure, which is purpose. Purpose. I say, for example, as the person introduced me, that my purpose is to equip and inspire people and organizations to live meaningful lives. So you must have a purpose for doing something. Just like the reason why I'm here this morning, I believe it's part of my purpose of inspiring, equipping. So there must be a bigger reason. Why are you planning? Why are you drawing these plans? Is it just because it is a new year 2026 and you're asking, what am I going to do? So you rush and put in place some plans. That shouldn't be the main factor our planning. There must be a mission that we want to accomplish. There must be a change that we want to achieve. And so if that purpose, if that reason is not strong and clear, you will have this well-written document. Like the Constitution of Kenya, it is termed to be as one of the best in the world, progressive. But yet, when it comes to implementation, there is a challenge. And that's the same phase strategies face. If you are running a strategy, and if you have a good strategic plan or document, but it was not based on a good motive, the reason for doing it were not clear and well documented and curated. They are not from the heart. You'll have it, but it will just be one other document or one booklet that you have on your shelf. It must have some drive internally that is going to move you, and that's what I want to urge us. As even we think of planning for 2026, ask yourself, why am I planning? Is there a reason from the heart that is driving me towards this planning? And so that's the third thing that is going to be very critical. Otherwise, I don't want us to write a plan that is going to gather dust on the shelves. And so let's have a very good reason why we do this thing. So the fourth thing that is critical that I've learned about strategic planning is this aspect of a competitive advantage. So most of you know Safaricom and know M-Pesa, but maybe you have not linked the two, that M-Pesa is the competitive advantage of Safaricom. That means that all the other telecoms who would have wanted to be as big, as elaborative as Safaricom, they cannot get to that level because they don't have a competitive advantage. So if your strategic plan, personal plan as it may be, if it is not giving you a competitive advantage, that is not a strategic plan. The main purpose of a strategic plan is to give you a competitive advantage, meaning that it helps you to get to a space where you cannot be beaten easily. You know, you cannot replicate the network, the agents of Safaricom in a single day, even if you wanted. You cannot copy that. You know, so a competitive advantage is that thing within your personal strategy that distinguishes you. If you're in employment, what is it about you as an employee? Or if you're in business, what is it about your business that gives you, that other people cannot replicate easily? They cannot copy the following day. You know, if it is gadgets, you know, people can buy those gadgets. If it's technology, so it must be something within that technology. Maybe how you use it, how you collaborate among the team members, that is quite unique, that a competitor cannot beat that in a single day. So a strategic plan, personal or corporate, must have a competitive advantage. Otherwise, I would declare that to be goals and all targets. If it doesn't have a competitive advantage, it must move you towards a place where you are unique, you are different, sets you from the rest of the team. So that's what the fourth thing that I'll say, and I've learned about strategies. So the fifth one is beliefs, and this is the culture, you know, how we do things here, or the character. And here we are talking about character, convictions, and principles, and identity. You know, the beliefs that you hold will determine whether you are going to get results. As you see from the image on my screen there, there is a beliefs, there is actions, and there is results. So this means that if your beliefs are negative, like maybe the way we are in this particular economy currently, there's quite a lot of challenges. If you believe that you won't succeed, if you believe that things are very hard, if you believe that nobody can make it, it's most likely that your beliefs are going to become your prophecy. So there must be a level of what do I call it, optimism that you carry. I usually joke like this, that if you want to support a football team, for some of us who support Arsenal, we are very happy at the moment. If you want to support a football team, Do you look for one where the players think that they cannot succeed? They are not going to succeed that season. They believe that they're incompetent. They don't have what it takes. Is that what you choose? We always choose people who believe that they can succeed. They can move to the next level. They must, despite the level of hardships that are in the economy at the moment, you must have a certain belief that things will work out, that let me do what I can and I leave the rest to God. And I believe that things are going to work out. So that's the level of belief that I want us to have when we are planning for 2026, because you might have that document, but if you don't trust that you can make a difference, then you will not be able to get there. So let me talk about number 6, and we are stopping at 8. So don't be worried of time. We are under control. So the other number 6 is about stakeholders. I know as an individual you may think you don't have stakeholders, but you have families. You have, if you are an individual running a corporate, then you have other people running an organization. You have other people that depend on your work. So as we plan, as I've written strategic plan, one of the most elaborative one I did was for the Council of Governors. And I think because that's a public institution, I can talk about it, is we did stakeholder engagement for about 6 months, just trying to talk to the stakeholders, because when you do a strategic plan for Council of Governors, there's the counties, there's the national government, there's the ministries, there's the republic, the people of Kenya, there's the staff internally, there's the governors themselves as a body, and so on and so forth. And so you must always bring in the stakeholders, not just at the implementation phase, but you must involve them at the planning phase. You must involve them at the implementation phase, and you must involve them at the evaluation phase at the end of the implementation. So at every stage of the way, you must talk to your stakeholders, because the strategic plan impacts not just you, it also impacts them. That includes family, if we are talking about individual, because we are talking about a person. You cannot learn to do this big thing without consulting the other side of the family. So let me move quickly to the last two, and one of them is monitoring and evaluation. Is that the strategic plan, once you have written your goals for 2026, there must be a mechanism for monitoring and evaluation. I usually say the difference between monitoring and evaluation is this. Monitoring is the day-to-day checks in to see, are you moving in the direction that you ought to check? And people forget about monitoring, especially in corporates. They like evaluation, where they come at the end of the month and they say, okay, the sales you are to make were 50, you are to bring in 50 new clients. How many have you brought in? Okay, you say, I've brought in 25. So the challenge with that is the month is spent. This guy has only done half of the work. What recourse do you have at that point? So that's where the monitoring and evaluation, the monitoring comes in, the monitoring aspect, where you are checking on weekly basis to see the progress this person is making, so that if he's not moving in the right direction, then you can be able to correct them and say, okay, this direction you are taking, if we continue this way for the next 2 weeks or 3 months, we are likely to end up with only achieving 50% of our goals. So the monitoring is very important. That daily, weekly, monthly check-in to see how much are we making is very critical. And if you forget the monitoring, then you'll be surprised when it comes to evaluation, because evaluation is just a result. How what percent have you achieved? What percentage have you achieved against the targets? And so if you do that at the end of the month, or at the end of 6 months or a year, and you find out that this person has only achieved a half, it will be a waste of time, because now you cannot train them, you cannot give them more resources, you cannot support them, because the year is gone. Now you can only look forward to the next year. So as we think of planning, as we think of drafting our objectives for 2025 and strategies and activities, let's think about how am I going to monitor on a daily, weekly basis? How am I going to evaluate at the end of a certain periodically? So that's very critical. And I think you can see how that is a good software. So to the last element, which brings us and ties up together all these things, is what we think here to be: one is outthink, outpace, and outgrow. And I think when I was discussing with the team Power Monday, this was the initial idea of this conversation, but I said, let's do the software first. So how do you, when it comes to planning, the first element is outthink. Outthink here is where you're dreaming up the direction that you want to take. And as we said, that outthink, that the difference between strategy and goals, when it comes to strategy, we are talking about the transformation, that you want to bring in, not just the direction, how many you want to make sales of 50 million, grow by 20%. But the issue is, how different are you going to be? So this is the point when you think. When it comes to strategic planning, the first element is that thinking. Which direction, or which one, but two most important, which transformation do I want to espouse? How am I going to be different? You need to think. You need to think better than the rest of your colleagues, better than your compatriots, competitors if you're in business. So that's the first element of strategic planning: innovation, bringing in a different direction. You can also decide to say, okay, I'm not going to pursue this product line this year. That is still strategy because of the reason and analysis that you have done. So that's what I would wish for us, that the first thing as we go out through this Power Monday is, let's outthink our competitors, let's outthink those people around us, let's think differently. So that's one. Two is outpace. So outpace is the actual performance. This is now you taking on, implementing what you have thought. Because the problem we have with strategy, and we see for corporates, there's statistics out there that up to 80% of the strategies are never implemented. And that's why I think the aspect of software is very important. And that's why I had this conversation, that to ground you and begin to have the right thinking before even you write up your strategic plan, you must be able to perform or execute, implement your strategy. So you don't just stop at thinking, outthinking your competitors. You have to move to the next level to outpace them. That is to implement, do that which you have thought. That's what is going to make a difference. And I think I've written in my book, somewhere in my book, and say that everything that we see around us, it is not just an idea, but it is also an action that somebody took. So if you see this Power Monday, it's not just an idea that Peter thought about, but it's also an idea that he has been outpacing for the last 5 years. That's why when he calls you for a meeting, 50 of us can turn out, or 100 of us can turn out a morning and be here, because he has been working at it. And so that is the trick about strategy. It's not you just having a good document plan like a constitution, but also to be able to implement that which you have thought about. Then lastly is how to grow. Then this is scaling up. You can grow to a certain level, and you can see that for some of us who go to the village, there is this kiosk where you bought bread 20 years ago. It is still the same even when you go there today. It is the same size. They have not thought about scaling. So, and most of us, if you don't grow, you die. And so we must be able to scale. We must reach a level that, yes, we have implemented the things that you have thought about. But are we moving now to a different level? Are we bringing in investors? Are we bringing in people who are thinking differently? That is now the aspect that we want us to think about. So with those few remarks, I want to make this a conversation. And so I would ask Paul Peter, do we go straight to questions, or there is, how do we go about it?
Yes, it's a good time for questions, and thank you for that. I can relate with a lot of things you've said. You're saying I took a different path, and that's pretty fairly true, I would say. Because while I still maintain the technology and all those hard things, I also picked the software. So we run Live Your Dream, which is about training, capacity development, leadership, all these things. And I can relate with a lot of what you've said. The other thing I noticed is many years back, somebody asked me when I was conducting similar training that what do you study in order to learn this? I said I may not be able to tell you. My path has been long. Yeah, I did physics, and that helped me to keep thinking and looking for solutions to problems. So if you remember vector analysis and all those other things, that's how come you're here. It's still physics. You see, this is this is what Dr. Munyonko taught us, that you are taught to solve problems. You are not taught so you are solving organizational problems, which is perfectly well. The other day we were having an alumni meeting, and I was amazed. Lots of people are in this business, whatever, development, and things like that. So you're on the right track, Emma, my friend. Yeah, I remember you. I remember
Thanks, PP.
days with symmetry, and
They spend many hours in the lab with
yeah,
Yeda.
yes, yeah. So let's put our questions, and I love the way you put it, that engaging stakeholders, that usually becomes, and as you've said, a lot of strategies are never implemented because stakeholders never thought it was theirs. It was something good to have. They were just given. And if they are not involved in the development from the beginning, then they don't own it. If they don't own it, they won't implement it. They will find it something foreign. It's like you're telling them from today on, we are going to start doing this, and then they wonder why. You see, they want to resist. So that becomes the problem. And talking about 2026, which is just about to begin, that is an important thought. That is an important aspect. So, are there people with certain areas of where they need clarification, questions? And as that one is coming, just to remind you that the next year we are going to have our similar program. We're going to have meet and greet on on the last Saturday of March, and that will be on 28th. And then we will have our charity visit on 6th of June, which is the first Saturday of June. We're going to have the second meet and greet on 25th of July. So you can put them down. 25th of July, second meet and greet. There are people who come and say, oh, that is a short notice. It's not short notice. It's a long way to go. And of course, our dinner will be on the 30th, which is a Friday, 30th of October. And then our last charity visit will be on the 5th, which is Saturday, the 5th of December. This one, the coming one, will be on 6th. So let's mark our calendars. How often should business change their strategy? That is the first question that has come from Daniel. How often should businesses change their strategy? And then Sheila has said, any guidelines on applying corrective measures during monitoring and evaluation? Do you have some guidelines? Do you have some guidelines? And then the third question there from Gashoka. Gashoka is the one who did the introduction of guests. That is your introduction today. And he's saying, what are main challenges you find organizations face when trying to implement well-crafted strategy? Maybe you can pick up from that, and then we will go to Dr. Florence Ambayo afterwards.
Thank you. So Starting from the first one, how often should businesses change their strategy?
Yeah.
So there is a school of thought that I think when you say strategy, maybe you're coming at it from two angles. One, you're coming at it from the aspect of the overall direction in which the business is taking. But there is also what we refer to strategy as a path, an avenue. So it is just a path that one is taking. So if you are asking about a path, a strategy being a path in which you're going to use to get things done, that can be very frequent. Because it is just that you decide to go to Nakuru and you find that the road is blocked. So you may decide to fly because you see the road was just an avenue to get you to Nakuru. And so if your direction is Nakuru is where you want to be, and you find that the road has been blocked and you can get a chopper, so you can change strategy often. But if you if you use the word strategy to mean a direction, a place where you are destined to be, then that should be something that you really take time to think through whether you want to change that destination where you are going. So I hope that is clear. If strategy is an avenue, is a path, that can change anytime, all the time, depending on the roadblocks that you find. But if strategy, you mean a destination, then that you really need to think, because did you evaluate well where you wanted to be in the next 5 years or not? If not, if you do a thorough analysis, then that can inform whether you need to change your destination, as it may be. The other question I see was on the guideline to apply. That was the second one, isn't it? The guideline to apply during monitoring and the evaluation. I think for me, I just use a simple template first and foremost. That you must have the activities to be done. That is one. Then there must be a measure. What is the measure? Then there must be the time frame. When should this activity be achieved? And then there is who is involved, who is responsible for that activity, and then there is a budget. So that's the first guideline, that there must be a plan, an implementation plan, so that you can know how to deal with the monitoring and evaluation. You must have an implementation plan that has activity, it has the measure, it has who is responsible, it has the time, and it has the budget. So after that, then you have to have the guidelines in terms of how frequent do you do it? Is it monthly, weekly? So you need to write these things down. It's not haphazardly that this month I'm going to check every week, next month I'm checking just once a month. There must be a system in terms of, okay, I have the plan, the implementation plan, the guideline in terms of monitoring and evaluation. How often do I monitor? Is it weekly? So you document that. And then thirdly is the action. You actually do it, because it was one thing to have a good plan and have the guidelines, but you don't do it. And fourth and lastly, because of time, is accountability. I think especially for SMEs where we don't have the board of directors who are going to check us every so often, it's important for us to have a partner, whether it's a consultant like myself or others, that at least you meet over a cup of coffee monthly or so to hold you accountable. So I think accountability is very critical. To have somebody beyond yourself, the CEO, to even if it's an individual plan, you must have an accountability, whether that's your life partner or somebody else who is going to hold you accountable. So that's what I would say now. The other question I've seen is from Gashoka, is what are the main challenges your found organization face with trying to implement a well-crafted? I think I'm happy that you said a well-crafted strategic plan, because one of the problems that we usually have in strategic plans is that it's not well-crafted. There is no implementation plan, as I've said, And so in this case, this organization already has a well-crafted. So I think it goes to the common saying, but I've found out to be very true, that culture eats a strategy for breakfast. That is the main hindrances, that people don't have the right culture in the organization for change. As we know, strategic plan, I said, is changing direction. It's not just an incremental. So if you're changing direction, if you're stopping a certain production line, there are people who are going to be resistant to that. So if you have not managed your culture change very well, it's most likely that the strategy is not going to succeed. And that's why I brought in the software of beliefs. What beliefs do you hold? What beliefs does the organization hold? The culture, the convictions that they have, the principles that guide them. If those things are not right, no matter which strategy that you have, it will not work out well. And that stands for a lot of things. Okay, you can talk about training, you can talk about equipping people, competencies, they have competencies. But if I was to summarize the problems, I would peg it on that aspect of culture and secondly, leadership. I think I'll leave it at that because of time. But those two elements are very critical if you're going to succeed or whether you succeed or not. But from there's another question.
Yes, there is.
Florence.
Dr. Florence said, thank you for this great presentation, Dr. Mango. Do circumstances which keep changing influence your personal strategy? And then Chrysalis has also asked, I see we oscillate, or I see we are going between personal and company strategy. Are the contexts interchangeable?
Great question there. So let's deal with Florence first in terms of the influences that come along. And I think that's why I said for strategy as an avenue, a way of achieving something changes because circumstances around us change. And so what shouldn't change as much is the vision, the actual destination that you want to move to. That you should have thought about it strongly for a long time and have conviction that this is where we are going. But how you go there will change. And so because of the personal circumstances around your life, whether it's a personal or the personal circumstances around the corporate, you may change the direction, the route that you're using. You may choose to fly rather than to drive to your destination. So there is that room. A strategy is a living document, especially as far as the strategy and the avenues that you're utilizing to get to your destination. But it is fixed in terms of the destination. So the personal circumstances, yes, have an impact. How am I going to achieve the same vision that I had based on the circumstances that I have now, whether you have lost your personal income, which might be financing something in your strategy. And so you have to look a way of reorganizing your financing so that you are able to get to your destination. And there is a question about the interchange, whether the personal strategy and corporate strategy are interchangeable. In terms of the principles, I think they're interchangeable in terms of how you think about it, because you must plan, you must execute and evaluate. So the elements are the same, but the context in terms of the environment might be different, because in a corporate, you are dealing with many stakeholders, for example, as opposed to a personal strategy where you might be the only stakeholders or family, you plus family. So the stakeholders that you're managing in each of these strategies are fewer, but they are stakeholders. The other thing that I talked about, for example, in monitoring and evaluation. When it comes to corporate monitoring and evaluation, it is a shared responsibility in terms of the implementation. And so the monitoring and evaluation, it may not be best in one location where it is you. There might be different teams performing, but all of them channeling now their implementation in one place for you to get the aggregated total performance. So I think for me, the main difference here would be scope of these things, but these principles are the same, but performed at different scope, given that the personal strategy, the scope, and the audience might be one, but a corporate, the scope might be 10, 50 external stakeholders and so on and so forth. So that's the main difference that I see. I have to move quickly. There's an issue.
I think we can, because of time, we can hold it there. You will stay behind a little so that after we close the official part, you can handle the rest. But I love it. I think what we need, and this is something I love saying, there is be, do, and have. Be is the culture. If you are the wrong person, you will not still do the right things that you want to do. So you need to change in the inner core, in the software, and then activity comes in and then results follow. That's the way it is. And like you said, if you are on the wrong track, you don't need motivation, you need education. Somebody said that is so if you are to change a strategy, if you know that you are headed the wrong way, yes, you just change. The moment you realize, you don't move faster. And somebody has asked about recording. I would say that we put recording in the WhatsApp, in the YouTube, and I'd put a link there, so I will share it again. And of course, we have a WhatsApp group which we can use to continue to interact. So at this point, I will call Dr. Melvin to give a vote of thanks. He has one of the questions that is yet to be answered, and I think we will answer it thereafter. So, Dr. Melvin, you can come in and pass a vote of thanks on our behalf, after which we can move to the close. And then people can ask questions thereafter. We release people who are rushing to work.
On behalf of Power Monday, I would like to thank our speaker today, Dr. Emmanuel Mango, for a wonderful job of breaking down strategy very simply for individuals like us and small business owners like most of us are, and making a difference between goals and strategy. That was a real eye-opener for me. And I've interacted with Dr. Mango in other fora and in other strategic development meetings. And I must say that he stands head and shoulders above everybody else if you want to achieve the good success that we are all aiming for. So additionally, I would like to thank the audience today. We were 92 at the top of the hour, and 92 people have benefited from this particular presentation by Dr. Mango, and we are grateful to each one of you because we know that you're taking a little bit more about achieving a new strategy going forward, and that you're going to implement this in your business, in your personal life. And finally, I want to thank the team behind Power Monday, who include Antonia Mutunga, Noel Hassandi, and OPP himself, not forgetting Odhiambo Lale, who is always in the background cheering us on. So thank you very much, all of you, for being here this morning, and go out there. Have a powerful Monday. Over to you, OPP.
Thank you very much, Dr. Melvin. Yes, we are very happy to have you. Just to mention a few things, because Antonia is on the road, unable to make announcements. As I had said, we have a charity visit coming. This has become our culture also. Yes, culture eats breakfast. Every first Saturday of December and first Saturday of June, we visit a children's home in Kangware. Precious Blood Children's family, and we are calling for support from all of you. You can donate whatever you have. You can either reach Antonia if you have some hard stuff, clothes, whatever, and you can also donate through buying. You can send a cash donation to the pay bill I've just put there, 247247 account 439331. That is within, I think within 3 weeks we should be doing this. That is our last activity for this year. And then next year, as I'd said, mark your calendar for the last Saturday of March and the last Saturday of July. We are going to have meet and greet. The first Saturday of June, the first Saturday of December, we'll have charity visit. And the last Friday of the year, of October next year, we are going to have our dinner. We celebrate the 6th birthday for Power Monday. Otherwise, let's work together. Keep sharing these things with other people whom you think can benefit. They don't pay anything. We use the same link every Monday, except if it is a public holiday. In December, we are going to leave the 2 Mondays out. That is the Monday of 22nd, because that is the week of holidays, and then the Monday of 29th. And then we will resume on 5th of January. Otherwise, we are on for 1st, 8th, and 15th. And we, as you see, we started talking of 2026. Everything we are going to discuss has to do with how your 2026 is going to be. That's how much we plan for you people, helping you to make a difference in your lives. And so thank you very much. At this point, I will want to invite a volunteer to say a closing